Here we go. Fingers crossed. It's spinning. You're live. Hey, maybe. I think it's going to work. Hey. All right, we're going to try this. We have 4 people watching. We're going to see if we can grow that number in a few minutes here. Good morning, everyone. Was that the... Nope, that wasn't YouTube. Well, let me know in the comments section if you can hear me, because I've had to do some reconfiguring. We had to move some of these wires around, and I think we got a new monitor here too. This monitor looks different. So hopefully you can hear me. I see audio levels moving on the stream computer software we use anyway. But just want to do a quick little live chat here this morning about the winter storm that's coming up. I was just chatting with Morgan, who's behind me. Say good morning. Oh my gosh.
Good morning.
The camera got moved. So we were just chatting that if we end up getting, more than 2.5 inches of snow, that this is going to be the biggest snowfall, single event snowfall that we've seen so far this season.
Which is insane.
Mind blowing. That's how easy we've had it this winter.
I can't complain.
I know. It's crazy. It is so crazy. But here we are. So we have this next winter storm that we're tracking in here for you. I want to start with who's under what in terms of advisories, watches, and warnings. Because I woke up and saw this morning. I'm like, I'm having deja vu. Because these are kind of the same areas that were under the advisory and the watch and the warning that we had last week. The only difference being is more of you south of Interstate 80 are now under this advisory. So this is going to be a more widespread snowfall event. It's not going to be that real narrow, skinny band, and then the rest of us stay snow-free. I think everyone's going to get on the snow action this time around, I think, based on what we're seeing.
Which there's been so many people who have been requesting snow, so here it is, because now everyone is finally going to get snow. But again, you can see those advisories, and that's where we're going to see those lower amounts at least, and then the warning, we're thinking probably upwards of 4 to 6 inches.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet. And this map, it looks a little funky because Milwaukee has not upgraded their winter storm watch yet, so that's why there's chunks missing up to southern Wisconsin. They'll probably do that a little bit later this morning. But yeah, there's a lot more advisory certainly than what we had for the one last week. So it's going to be more of an impactful event, breaking it down group by group here. If you're under the winter weather advisory, that will start at midnight. So will the winter storm warning, but the main difference is the advisory areas are only going to see the lighter snowfall amounts, and then the warning areas, those are the ones that are going to have that heavier band of snow that's going to set up likely late tomorrow morning, especially around the noon hour. So I want to take you and show you when that's going to be coming in. There it is. So we're going to stay quiet today. I don't know. Did you hear the wind last night, by the way?
I did. It was howling this morning, too, at points.
53 mile per hour wind gusts at the airport here. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And it happened just as I was coming into work. It was right before 3:30 this morning. So we weren't even in the advisory at that point. And we had the strongest wind gusts come through. We're going to tamper those down a little bit as we go into the afternoon. But it's going to be quiet and cloudy as well. Temperatures are actually going to fall as we go into the later half of the day. And then we're going to eventually end in the 20s. So that tells me we are going to be on the cold side of this system, and this is going to be an all-snow event. We're not going to be worrying about rain mixing with the snow, limiting snowfall totals in that capacity like last week.
Yeah. So we'll have all cold air. And the good thing is those roads at first, they should kind of grab onto that warmth a little bit longer, and so shouldn't really impact roads until, I'm going to say, later on in the morning, probably closer to that 11 a.m. noon hour is probably when we'll start to see roads get a little bit dicey at times.
Yeah, because one thing to keep in mind, we've been in the 50s for the last at least 2 days. So that pavement has grabbed onto that warmth, and it likely is going to be slightly above freezing as we start the snow tomorrow. So like Morgan said, most of it will melt at first, but once you get that steadier band to take over, like what we saw in Iowa City last week, initially the road was wet, and then we looked at it like 30 minutes later, there was a car off the roadway, it was covered in snow. It's going to take a little while for that process to happen, but once it does, it's going to happen quickly.
Exactly. So even with your morning commutes, 7, 8 o'clock, maybe still plan couple extra minutes in those commutes just to be on the safer side, because you can see especially for a lot of the Iowa side and then north of I-80 is probably when we're going to start to see more of that widespread snow begin to push in.
Yeah, and if you're heading, say, Iowa City tomorrow, I know a lot of you commute there for work, you live here but work there, you're going to see the first impacts, because if you're going to head west, the snow is going to start there about 2 hours before it starts here. And so those are the roads that are going to start to get the impacts first. So if you do need to head west, you do need to leave earlier than you typically would, because it doesn't look like we get that steady band here until about 6, 7 o'clock. It looks like it's more of a 3, 4 o'clock for areas west of the Quad Cities. But once we get that snow in here, it really looks like it continues through the noon hour.
Yeah, so it's going to be a nice steady snowfall again. We've really lacked on a lot of those steadier snows that kind of takes over the entire area. It's been a lot more difficult with our events because we've been having to track where that cutoff is.
Yes.
This time we're not doing that. It's kind of where is it going to be the heaviest, which obviously is going to be looking more so to our north and west.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree. Like you said, last time we had to worry about when was the rain going to change to snow. That has a big impact on amounts. That's not us this time. It's all snow. So we don't have to worry about that changeover. But the steadier snow, it looks like it's going to wrap up right about the evening commute tomorrow. And I think by then, roads will probably be in a lot better shape than what we're going to be seeing for the morning. Road crews will have a lot more time to kind of catch up and get things under control, I think, for the second half of the day. A lot of people have asked me, when is it starting for my particular hometown? So I wanted to break us up into a couple of different regions. So the rule is right now, the further south and west you live of the Quad Cities, your Galesburg, your Burlington, your Muscatine, you're going to start a little bit sooner. Well, it's not so much for Galesburg, you're a little further east, but definitely for Burlington and Muscatine on the Iowa side, you're going to see that snow first. It's going to take a little bit longer for it to get here to the Quad Cities and also further east for Sterling Rock Falls. So those of you east of the Quad Cities will probably get your morning commute out of the way without an issue. It's going to be close here in the metro, but we know areas west are going to have an issue.
Yeah, so definitely, again, plan accordingly for tomorrow morning. And the nice thing about these temperatures that we're dealing with, at least we're not getting too cold, is I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people putting down treatments, a lot of plows putting down treatments today. And so those treatments will work pretty effectively as we get through the day. But again, it's going to take some time to get it all cleared out.
It will, yeah. Got to pack your patience. I almost guarantee we're going to see those liquid application trucks out on the roads today. They're always doing that ahead of time, which I know we appreciate. So you're going to see a lot of those for sure probably by the time we get into this afternoon. We can break this down in terms of where the heaviest snowfall band is going to fall. The National Weather Service was just talking about this about an hour ago, that their model that they use is kind of showing the same thing that we're showing here with our own in-house model, and that is that dark purple from roughly Cedar Rapids through Iowa City up to Maquoketa, Galena, and Dubuque. So it's the same areas that got the 9 inches last week. Dubuque, I'm looking at you. That was crazy. You're probably going to be in line for at least 6 inches, and then notice that kind of tapers the further south you go.
Yeah, so if you're along I-80 and you're not within that, what Andrew said, Galena, Maquoketa, Dubuque area, you're looking at 3 to 6 inches. And then south of I-80, we're looking at Mount Pleasant, Burlington, Galesburg, probably in the realm of 2 to 3.
Yeah, it's going to be another event where, the further south you go, the less you're going to see in terms of the accumulation. It is also going to be the wet, heavy, slushy snow. So if you are going to measure it and you want to get an accurate measurement, you want to do it as soon as possible, because what can happen is we get what's called compaction. When it's so wet and heavy, it actually kind of squashes itself.
Yeah, and then
make it lower.
Another reminder, when you're measuring, and if you want to get the most accurate measurement, take a couple of measurements around your house and then kind of get the average of that, and that's how you can submit that, and then we can confidently share this is probably what this area is seeing.
Yeah, exactly. So we would love to see those reports. I would love to see a few just before GMQC at 11 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Some of the early reports coming in. That way, if we can say if the models are underperforming or overperforming in terms of the snow. So keep that in mind. We would love to see those reports. Again, there is nothing automated when it comes to snow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So we depend on you.
We need to know how much is in your yard. It just takes a few moments, and we would greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure if you don't have this already, I tell you about this every day, but I'm still surprised at how many people don't have either one of these apps, because they are really useful. Not only are you getting your news headlines, but you're going to get the interactive radar. You can also get the future radar, which is the same model we show you here on our future track that will show you that snow coming in for tomorrow morning once we get a little closer. Plus, you can also submit your weather photos via both of these apps as well.
Yes, and it will also alert you. So if something, just even going forward as we are heading into the spring season, we know severe weather season. If you have any alerts going on in your specific area, it'll inform you and give you a notification.
Yeah, and so here's a crazy story. So I have noticed with both of our apps, the News 8 app and the Storm Track 8 app, that alert will actually come across my phone on that app before it even shows up in our weather graphics computer.
Yes, I noticed that too.
It like takes some time to process back here. So when you have those apps, you truly are the first ones that are getting that alert. I know that it's even gone off before our weather radio during like tornado warnings and stuff. So grab it. It's free. You might as well have it. And of course, if there's any more alerts or if we need to adjust these advisories, watches, and warnings, you can do that very easily, and we'll keep you notified there too. I want to let you know of one more handy service before we let you go, and I'll see if there's any questions before we do that. But I'm going to stick around on the text messaging service that we offer here until noon. So if you have any further questions, whether it's travel related, how much snow we're going to get, when it's going to start, stop in your hometown, I can't really do down to your house or your street. I'm sorry, I don't have that much accuracy up here in my noggin. But any questions really related to the winter storm, go ahead and send those. That's to our number there. It's 309-304-0888. Scan the QR code too. That'll send you to that number. But I'll answer those questions for you live here today until noon. Definitely use that resource. We're the only TV station in town that offers that, where you can get a direct text connection to the Storm Track 8 weather team, and we are so proud and excited to have that service here for you. I do not see any comments right now, but then again, this webpage is having an error. It's doing something kind of funky. So I will check back here once we end the stream. Again, if you have any additional questions and I don't get to the little chat here that I can't see right now for some strange reason, feel free to text that number. I'll be here till noon. We're going to be here for a while too, but I usually shut it down at noon because we got a new shift taking over. And then I always let the others decide if they want to bring it back up, because it's a lot of work. There's a lot of questions. You guys have some great questions, and also we have some conversation at times too. So it can get intense at times.
It can.
But I'm happy to be here to answer your questions until noon. And then, of course, Morgan will take things away for the rest of the afternoon, along with Chief Meteorologist James Sahara. Average Davis is here as well. I believe we're going to have you in the Beast tomorrow, right?
Yes, I will be in the Beast tomorrow. I think that's the plan. I have to go double check. But
I know for sure the 11. For sure.
Yes, for sure the 11. We'll have the Beast out, but we'll figure out what time, maybe even in later half of the Good Morning Quad Cities, maybe get the Beast out. But regardless, we're going to be keeping you informed on those road conditions throughout tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon too.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're going to have you covered from the app to the Beast to here on air on WQAD.com. You name it, we'll keep you up to date on this storm. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Again, not a huge deal tomorrow. I don't think we need to be running and raiding the grocery store by any means.
No, because again, I talked about this weekend. This time of the year, snow events kind of get a little more less of a hassle. Yeah, we're getting a lot of snow, but looking into the weekend, we're likely going to lose a lot of that snow with how warm those temperatures are going to return. So it might just put you down for an afternoon. But regardless, those roads should be much better by tomorrow night.
Definitely. Yeah, and I don't expect any impacts Friday morning either. I think that commute's going to be just fine. And then we'll get you into the weekend forecast then. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Of course, we'll be out and about tomorrow morning. We'll get you covered with all of the road conditions and all that. And hopefully we'll see you coming up about under 2 hours from now for GMQ